Okay, let's go.
Welcome to Coachella Valley. Jose here from the New Mindset. Well, I have a very exclusive, I'm going to call it an exclusive episode today. Sitting across from me is not only a genuine person, your mannerisms are very gentlemanlike. The first time I met you, we were at a food bank, and man, every single person that came to pick up food, you did not wait for them to leave before saying, hello, my name is. This is, what can I say? You just have this aura about you. And
I mean, that's our culture, right? We're supposed to do it.
We're Latinos, and that's where we come from. But please, don't let me keep tapping your back. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. I am a business owner, a dad, a pastor, an outreach guy, and a retired Marine.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support.
Let me ask you my first question, and it's going to sound easy, but I know it's not because you have quite the extensive career. Jeff Gonzalez, where do you come from?
Well, I was born in New Jersey, but this is what's funny about that. My mom is from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
My dad is from Tuxtepec, Oaxaca, Mexico. Right? Right in El Valle de las Piraguas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, I love Piraguas. So he's, my dad's Mexican, my mom's Puerto Rican. They met in New York at a dance.
Of course.
Dance.
So you salsa dance, right?
Yeah, of course. They met at a dance, and then now 50 plus years later, two older brothers, one younger brother, and grandkids. So yes.
So you're the middle child.
I am the middle child.
Oh, wow. You know what? That's great, man. I'm the oldest kid, and we always think of the middle kid as the second one or something. But you know what? You go through it as much as we do in those trenches. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me about growing up. Did you grow up in Jersey as well? You went to school there and everything?
No, you know, growing up, I want to say I had a taste of everything, right?
Yeah.
So growing up, we lived in the Lower East Side, Manhattan, back in the 70s and 80s when it was bad. Alphabet City, shootings every day. And then my little brother was going to be born. So my parents said, well, let's move to Mexico.
Okay.
In the same town where my dad was born.
Wow.
So we moved back to San Juan Bautista, Tuxtepec, Oaxaca, Mexico.
Wow. So
we lived there. We lived there, and my brother was born there. My family way back has always been farmers in Mexico.
Wow.
We lived there for a couple years, and then we moved to East LA in the 80s. So you can
one next to the other.
I'm telling you, we hit from one coast to the other coast, international. We moved to LA, and this is the 80s. This is when Bloods, Crips, Cholos, gangs, everything was going crazy.
The Wild West.
Right. My dad was working in manufacturing, fabrica, right? Just working 3 jobs, doing the best he could, and realized that it wasn't a good place to be. So we moved to the Inland Empire in a little town called Sunnymead, now known as Moreno Valley.
Wow.
And I want to say I grew up there. I grew up in Moreno Valley. And after that, my senior year of high school, we moved back to New York.
Okay.
Where my dad's company was transferred him to.
Got it.
I graduated there and joined the Marine Corps.
Wow, that's quite the. Let me go back a little bit. So something you said that's really important that I heard. So, out of those places, right? Because you could have lived, it sounds to me like, in a few different environments and thrived, and you chose the Coachella Valley. When did you choose the Coachella Valley? When was that?
That was 2013.
Okay.
I chose the Coachella Valley for a whole bunch of different reasons. I was stationed at 29 Palms because I joined the Marine Corps.
Right.
I was stationed at 29 Palms. A friend of mine recruited me to work at a church here in the Coachella Valley, a church called Southwest, and I became the outreach pastor there. And I realized there's no traffic out here like San Diego or Orange County.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a little bit hotter, but I fell in love with the community. It felt really close. And that's why we chose it. And, you know, my bones were a little bit creaky, so the dry heat was good.
Oh, my God, I feel that. I feel like You know what's funny? I'm a little. You were about the same age, right? I'm 35. You're 36. Something like that.
Plus 15.
So I messed up. So
I turned 15
in the valley. You know, it's fantastic.
Black beans, white rice. Shampoo.
I feel like being here in the valley. You're correct. The community is so tight and close, and we all kind of know each other. Right?
Yeah.
I told somebody last time I interviewed them that you can't really throw a stone and hit somebody without knowing who you hit. It really is a tight-knit community, and you're very much a part of it. Tell me a little bit about those formative years coming up and going to the Marine Corps. What in there got you into becoming a pastor? That just seems like one of those transitions.
It was it's a crazy story because I served in the Marine Corps. I was in I was in communications and then counterterrorism. Mm-hmm. And in that job, I was deploying quite a bit. I did 4 combat tours, 2 to Iraq, 2 to Afghanistan. I worked on embassy duty, protecting embassies in South America, Central America, in Europe, in Africa with the Secretary of State. And when I went to war, it was a different world. Mm-hmm. And what I found was that we can go to war, mm-hmm. but the remnants of war come with you.
Yeah.
Right? So you go to the war, and I think this is a story of life, right? You can go to the problem, but the problem always, the remnants of the problem will follow you or the trauma, and you have to be able to impact that or change that or tackle that. And 10 of my Marines died by suicide. Mm. And I was almost one of those guys who died by suicide, to be perfectly honest with you. Mm. I found myself I'm a happy person.
Yeah, you really
I'm a pastor. I know Jesus. I know the whole 9 yards. And it just snuck up on me. Mm. War, the death, the destruction, all of that stuff snuck up on me. And I almost became number 11. Mm. And it was because of my faith that I said, okay, God, you got to do something. And luckily, thankfully, I was saved, and I said, I got to do something for these men and women who are dying, coming back from war. And the only thing that saved me was my faith. So the only thing I knew to do was use my faith to help save others.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's very much in any spectrum. You're very correct in saying that. I don't know the numbers anymore, but they say like 1 in every 4 veterans has some type of thought.
Yeah, right.
It's
22 die by suicide a day.
22 die by suicide a day. There is a hotline. I don't remember what the hotline is. We'll look it up and give it to you guys by the end of the episode. Something to always keep in mind. Our vets have always, fought for our country, helped us with our rights. And truly, what you do and the job that you do is so impressive that, man, going into anything else, it just feels like you carry that weight from one to the other.
You carry the weight and the burden and the sacrifice, and you remember those things. But here's the other piece that I want people to also get. We have police officers and firemen and nurses and doctors and we see trauma. Trauma is trauma
on a regular basis.
Death is death.
Yeah.
And we see sometimes the worst of people, and on a good chance we see the best of people, right? But they go through that similar trauma as well. And we need to reach out to them and make sure that they're doing okay.
Yes.
But yes.
Well, I do agree that there definitely is room for conversation in that world. And hopefully anyone listening, if you know somebody that needs it, there's help out there, reach out. We'll make sure to include that in here as well. Jeff, let me go back to something a little bit before that. So you were a boot at some point during your Marine training. What would you say, the hardest part of training for you? Did you conquer the mountain?
So one, yes, I was a boot, but I'm always boot to somebody else.
That's a good sense.
I'm always boot to somebody else, so I'll always be a boot, right?
That's right.
And for those listening, what that just means is a rookie, someone who's green. But the biggest mountain that I climbed was the mental mountain. Mm. Physically, you can train your body to do something, whether it's in business, you wake up early, you do something, you build muscle memory. Right. So physically, you could do something. The mental mountain is the most challenging mountain out there for any occupation, for any situation across the board. So when having a new mindset,
yes, sir,
specifically apropos for this.
Yes, sir.
When trying to create a new mindset, you have to start with the muscle memory first. So step one in a new mindset is muscle memory. How do I become successful? So I have to wake up. I have to turn on the alarm. I have to do that. So I have to make a physical movement, and then I have to make a mental movement of I have to commit to this new mindset in order to achieve whatever it is I need to achieve. So for me, whether it be in the Marine Corps, in combat, in business, in counseling someone who's going through a struggle, whatever it is, I have to teach and coach these two aspects of how do, one, you get up and do it, and that's the physical turn on the alarm,
100%.
and two, how do you mentally commit to it, and three, how do you mentally remain consistent?
Yes. That it is a tough 3-step program you just gave out to the world. You know, you're absolutely right. If you don't find the commitment to the first action, the second one's harder to follow up on.
Absolutely.
100%. Mental game. It's always about the mental game. It's always been true. And it always helps you to kind of do that exercise a little bit. Write it down. Come up with your list. Try to follow up on that.
And you know, with people who are addicts, you take an addict who is working through recovery.
Right.
And you ask them, what is the secret? And they say, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Right. So one day at a time, they have to physically wake up, physically deny the body of whatever that thing is, whether it's food or whether it's drugs or whatever. They have to physically deny themselves of that. And then they have to mentally commit to that process, right?
Next step.
So if we take the addiction mindset, or if we take an athlete, or if we take a high earning person across the board, it's these 3 steps. And they'll never say, you know, this is my New Year's resolution, and for this year, I'm going to do that. They say, I'm going to wake up one day at a time and I'm going to do this. And then the next step is I'm going to do it for 7 days and then for 21 days. In the Marine Corps in boot camp, they say, what is the advice you give to anyone in the Marine going through Marine Corps boot camp? So you have to wake up every day, go from chow to chow, right? From meal to meal, right? And then from Sunday to Sunday. So you have to break it up. So from meal to meal and Sunday to Sunday, whatever that goal is, you have to physically and mentally commit to it to get this new mindset.
That is a fantastic step in the right direction. Let's cut to a quick commercial here now that I have a break. That was great, Jeff. Oh my gosh. It's only the beginning. Let's go to a commercial. When we come back, let's talk about what's going on today. And you have so much going on today. Let's cut to it. Jose here from the New Mindset of the Coachella Valley. Guys, you got to learn how to take a load off. The work week is so stressful, and everyone here is always looking for the next best thing. You know what? Through the summer, we found a fantastic new place for you to check out. It's in the heart of Palm Springs, and they have so many events. Hotel Zozo.
End your work week with some pool time at Hotel Zozo and chill out to the hits from the 80s to the early 2000s during our Flashback Friday Night Vibes pool party, happening every Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Go to Hotel Zozo, palmsprings.com to book your cabana reservations.
All right, and we're back here. Jeff Gonzalez. My gosh, where do you start with a person like this? Crazy. I never really get stumped, but your story, I just want you to hear you. So tell me about today. What is going on today with Jeff Gonzalez?
Today with Jeff Gonzalez, I have 4 kids. I know you said I look 35. Thank you for that.
You look great,
it's the as we call it, the sangre chinanteca. My indigenous roots on the Mexican side, which is the Chinanteco, and my indigenous roots on the Puerto Rican side, which is Taíno. So I would, and the rice and beans that my mom used to make me, right? So for me, I'm turning 50 this summer. I have 4 kids.
When's the party? Where is it?
August 3rd at Babalu. Everyone's invited. Babalu. So what we have going on is we have 4 kids. Mm-hmm. One is 31, one is 28, then 23, and then 18.
Holy moly.
Our 31-year-old has cerebral palsy with spastic quadriplegia, which means they can't use their legs, their hands, and he eats through his stomach and doesn't verbalize like you and I. Mm-hmm. Our 28-year-old daughter, she's great. She lives down the road. 23-year-old son, he's doing amazing. He's into trading. And my 18-year-old is leaving in a couple weeks to go off to college in San Diego.
Congratulations.
So, and my wife and I have been married for 20 years. Do the math.
No, I'm not.
Right? Right? The math is, when I married my wife, she had 3 kids, and I consider them my kids. The only steps we have in my house are the ones you vacuum.
100%. Oh my gosh, that's awesome, man. Do you feel like, well, that's a very interesting conversation, but in regards to your family, you seem very, no, you don't seem, you are very situated. You know everything that has to do with and within your family core. Who would you say is your favorite? No.
My favorite kid is the one who brings me a dessert the fastest.
They better hear that.
So the competition is always there.
Do you feel like you do so much more? How do you separate that family time and your personal time and your business time and your pastor life? How do you find the time to do that? What do you do?
When we're talking about new mindsets.
Yes.
But with anything, you have to give it its appropriate due. So as a father, a mother, a son, a friend, whatever the case may be, the very first piece of mindset is taking care of yourself, number one, right? So it's putting the oxygen on first and then taking care of the other pieces. So I have to put that into my schedule of both my physical and my mental. So how do I take care of me? That's primary.
Yeah.
Because I have to be able to fill my gas tank up in order to have the energy to give to others, right?
Yes.
So first it's me and my walk and my faith and everything going on. Then it's my wife. Then it's my kids, right? And my friends and family. Then I go into the business side and I'm running for office as well. And then what am I doing in my community? I have to be able, I can't be everything to everybody.
Correct.
But I do have to be present when it's time to be present.
Correct.
Here's one thing that I see folks doing, and I'm guilty of it as well. I'm going for whatever, right? Whether it's business, political, or out in the community. And my wife will ask me a question and she'll say, hello, are you listening? Right? Have you ever had that experience?
Oh, I don't want to be in the room when that happens.
Yeah. So I've had to train myself.
Right.
I'm getting text messages right now. My phone is blowing up.
Yeah.
But because I am in this interview, I am training myself. I have to constantly remember physically and mentally that I have to be present in what's happening.
Yeah.
So when my wife's talking to me, present. When my kids, present. Across the board. So how do I split it? I have to, I can't overwhelm myself, and I just have to remain present in the situation.
That's really good advice. I think you're right. Being on the other side of that question is very tough because you really have to answer with knowledge.
Right.
And so I'm going to assume that you're well versed in much knowledge. You just mentioned that you are joining the political world. And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Here in California, specifically in this area, we're struggling with the cost of milk, the cost of eggs. Check this out. My son said, my 18-year-old son. So this is like the miracle that's about to happen. Right? He said, I'm going to cook dinner for you guys. We said, great. What are you cooking? He said, I'm going to make ground turkey and I'm going to put it with some taco seasoning. And I'm like, all right, taco seasoning. We do our own seasoning. But, he's 18. Okay, He wants to do it. So he said, well, how much is ground turkey? And I said, I don't know. It's probably like $8. That's the last time I bought it. He went to go buy it, and it cost him $17. I said, man, how much did you buy? He goes, only that 2-pounder is $17. So right now, folks here in Coachella and California and across the board are struggling with the price of food. So I see that. And my son, who's 31, I watch my wife on the phone for hours trying to convince agencies that he still has cerebral palsy. That blows my mind.
Wow.
It's not the flu. It doesn't go away.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
So I said enough is enough.
Wow.
If no one's willing to fix it, I'll go. I'll go to Sacramento. I'll do something about it because no one's listening to my son and other people who are struggling with the same thing. So that means I got to go fight. My son doesn't have a voice, but I have a voice and I plan to use it. So that's why I decided to get in this arena.
Yeah.
And now that I'm in this and we won the primary, the election is November 5th, and we need everyone to vote their values.
Yeah.
Leave the Republican, the Democrat, all that, leave that to the side, right? Do what's best for your community.
Yeah.
and follow your values. Follow what's best. Don't just go down the line.
Yeah.
So for me, I look at this season of my life and I say, what can I do with the skills and talents that God gave me so that way I can advocate for those that can't advocate for themselves?
Correct.
That's why I'm doing it. So it's the 36th Assembly District.
Yeah.
And the way it works is it's very simple, right? From a state side, we have the governor, and on the federal side, we have the president.
Yes.
And then we have the Supreme Court, same thing on the state side. And on the legislative side, we have the U.S. Senate and the California State Senate. And then we have the U.S. Congress, and then we have the State Assembly. Right. So that's what I'm running for, is State Assembly. I will help create bills and hopefully cut back on some of the spending and put it in the right place.
Good. I'm going to ask you a question. For those people out there are people that don't know things that seem as knowledgeable to you and I. Could you explain what cerebral palsy is?
So the easiest way I tell folks about cerebral palsy is there is a short circuit of sorts, right? From brain to body. And with my son, he also has seizures. So he doesn't have the ability, because it's very extreme for him. So he doesn't have the ability to control or tell his body like you and I can, hey, shake hands. I know I can shake hands. For my son, he doesn't have that capability to do that.
And I'll ask you the same question, but as a parent. What is cerebral palsy to you as a parent? Oh,
it's a blessing. It's like, because I came into this marriage with a son with cerebral palsy, right? She already had him and he already had, so for me, I don't know any different. So for me, cerebral palsy is it's a smile, it's laughter, it's joy, it's God gave me the ability to steward, to shepherd, to take care of this angel that's here on earth. So for me, I don't see it as hard. Sure, we wake up every 2 hours and we have to turn him throughout the night. That's kind of part of being dad.
Sure.
Right? If it was a newborn, you'd do the same thing, but he's 31. So for me, it's, I wouldn't have it any other way for what it is as a dad towards my other kids. My wife will say, no, I feel bad sometimes having them take care of him, so on and so forth. And I say, don't rob them of the blessing of caring for somebody. In this self-centered world, yes, sir. What they get a chance to see and feel and be a front row seat to knowing empathy, to knowing service, to being a servant leader. And that's the mindset that we want to teach in my house.
I'm going to cut the commercial on that note. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about the future. And man, this conversation has been fantastic. All right, let's cut to it. You know what? Here in the Coachella Valley, this heat wave is intense. Very few times you find me outside because inside's a little cooler. But guess what? We just found you the coolest spot in the valley. It's in the heart of downtown Palm Springs, Hotel Zozo. They got something stirring up for you on Tuesdays. Let's hear about it.
Tuesdays just got cooler with Hotel Zozo's Taco Tequila Tuesdays with Tequila Dame Mas Pool Party. Join us every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for some delicious tacos, tasty tequila, and the best Latin vibes. Contact the hotel directly for cabana reservations.
Here we are. We're back with Jeff Gonzalez. Man, what a great conversation. I truly getting to know you even more so than before. I feel more connected to you because our core values seem to be, Latinos are very much about family. Right. We love and appreciate each other, and we welcome those that want to come in, and we make sure that we talk to everyone and see, gauge it. And
that's kind of what you're
family,
food, and fun.
100%. The 3 Fs.
That's right.
So let me ask you this: you seem to have a plan already for what's coming, but what is tomorrow? What is the next Sunday? What does the next child look like to you? Tell me a little bit about the future and what's happening.
For me, I get the privilege of talking to people everywhere, right? And one of the best things that I can do is just have a one-on-one conversation with someone. So my expectation of today, of tomorrow, is that I can encounter someone wherever they're at and hear their story, because I love hearing someone's story, and whether it's struggles or successes. And then the second piece, I'm what's known as an activator, right? The second piece is I love activating someone into their next step, whatever their next step might be, right? The new mindset.
Yes.
How do you create that? How do you take your next step? So for me, one of the things I look at, whether it's today, tomorrow, I'm driving to Imperial County 2 hours away. I'm meeting with tons of people out there and then coming back and, doing it again.
Yeah.
So for me, what success means for the day is being able to have the one-on-one.
Yeah.
And activating them to do their next step, or as some might say, their next purpose.
I love it because you're not living in the moment. You're living in the moment when you need to be. So you're present when you have to, but you already have that 2-step plan ahead of you. And your goal is to connect with one person in the room, that person in the room, that person in the room. So you may meet 100 people.
Right.
And as you tell and share your story, I'm sure they'll come back and have wonderful things to say to you.
I tell my story, and it's weird telling my story all the time, but I get it. This is the season that I'm in. But I love to hear other folks' story, and they're like, "Oh man, you're so great," so on and so forth. And I'm like, it's not about me, but how can I help you? How can I activate you? How can I get you to go out there and do the great things?
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I just look at.
And then talking a little bit more about the future and what's to come. So you have an idea of the type of problems you want to fix. Say in the Coachella Valley, you mentioned, for example, the increase in food. What other ones have you seen that you're like, this one I could probably try to tackle on, or this is another problem I want to look at? What would those be for you?
Because of my son, access to quality healthcare. There are, believe it or not, some people don't know this, but believe it or not, there are places in this region where people don't have access to quality healthcare. They have to drive an hour, 2 hours to get there. I'm not saying that there's not healthcare. I'm talking about specialized healthcare, right? So those are some of the things that I want to make sure that I'm tackling for my family and for my friends. So access to healthcare, affordability, crime. I would love it if, back in the day, we used to be able to go out and play on the street, so on and so forth. On military installations, my kids grew up along with that. And then living outside of military installations, it's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
You can't just do that kind of stuff. So safety is big. Education, we're the lowest when it comes to the United States education. I would love for our kids across the board to graduate on their 12th grade year with a 12th grade education and capability. That's not the case right now.
Right.
That is not the case right now. You go to places like Coachella Valley Unified School District, and some of these teachers are killing it. They're doing amazing things. Yeah. But unfortunately, they don't have the tools that they need to make it all work together. I was talking to somebody about how do we connect with parents in the community, because parents are saying, no, you don't need that. Come work with me at X, Y, and Z. Not that that's a bad thing, but what I would love for our kids across this entire community is to have options. And those options begin with quality education.
Very important.
And quality teaching.
Yes. That is something, you could argue that is something that's a model that you could create and take across the board.
Right.
Because it truly can be a good tool to have for any location that may need it.
Right.
And in creating, some say that in creating one bill or law, you can affect multiple in both positive and negative way. Hopefully, all for the positive. We truly do believe that everything that the government gives us as this is where you can start off to get a tool from here and can actually help us. And if that is your goal, that truly is something that at least here at the New Mindset can get behind.
Right.
We do hope that in your political career, you continue to stretch far and wide and your message gets across, because it is a very important one. It sounds like you have very much a lot of empathy for the next person. What does it mean to you to be in someone else's shoes?
Being in someone else's shoes, you can't truly understand what they're walking through, but you can walk with them. Right?
Wow.
A pastor of mine used to say, the ministry of presence. And what that means is You don't have to come with solutions as you're walking in their shoes or with their shoes, right? But just being present with them and walking with them, that means a lot, right? You don't have to come out with the most witty or best or most comforting thing. Sometimes just sitting there and using the two things on the side of your head versus the thing in front of your, beneath your nose.
Yeah.
That's what walking with somebody means.
Fantastic. And my last question to you, future-wise, before we cut to the last bit, is you and I both know and we understand that the Coachella Valley is full of people of a lot of spectrum. There are multiple spectrum. This Coachella Valley is like, I've always referred to it as this melting pot, kind of like New York. We have people from geriatrics and different spectrums, if you must, and everybody just kind of conjives, kind of lives with each other very well, I would say. If and there are some situations, but nothing too crazy, But would you say then, so here in the Coachella Valley, we're a melting pot. We have so many spectrums. At what many levels have you been able to connect with here in the Coachella Valley?
So I'm going to push back on the melting pot.
Okay.
I think we're a salad bowl. And let me explain to you.
Hear me with that. Yeah, that's a good, okay.
A melting pot tells me that all of us are put into one pot and kind of immersed, and we have one flavor.
Right. I think with that.
Yeah. I think like you're lettuce and I'm tomato.
Yeah.
We have an onion, we have a chile, we have cheese, we have all this different, antipasta salad, right? We all live together in this region. And we all have our unique flavor, from LGBT to straight, to Republican to Democrat, to old to young, to special needs to non-special needs, across the board, right? So because of that, we all respect each other's flavor.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And we're all unique. Yeah. And we don't impose, and we honor each other's flavor. We don't impose upon each other. So for me, I believe that's what the Coachella Valley is about when we're looking at us from a big picture perspective.
Yeah.
And what makes us so great is that you can take this specific group of people, the diverse community, and place it somewhere else, and it might not work.
True.
But here, it just so happens to work because we've developed, as we like to say, a new mindset here.
That's right. Let's cut the commercial when we come back. Jeff, I thank you, first of all, for all this time, but we are a podcast that is played everywhere in the world. If you have internet in a remote island of, I don't remember the name, Galapagos. We're actually, somebody showed us in the Galapagos. We're there. You can actually, we record who's listening to us, and so there's people all over the world, and we never know who's listening. We get people asking us all sorts of questions, and there's going to be somebody listening today that wants to go down the path you're going to. So when we come back, let's give them a few pointers on how they can do something similar to what you did. All right, let's cut to it. Did you know that up to 80% of adults have stretch marks or scars? The new mindset of the Coachella Valley brings you JD Aesthetics, where they delve into the world of skin camouflage, stretch mark removal, and scar revision. Licensed paramedical tattoo specialist Joanna Davila Rios has a simple mission in mind: to help everyone embrace their natural beauty.
Enter New Conceal, a revolutionary skin tone correction treatment using tattoo technology. Joanna is certified to perform this incredible procedure, utilizing new skin tone reduction device and application to achieve precise color matching for seamless results. Join us as we explore the artsy and science behind the New Conceal technology. This beautiful coverage empowers individuals to love their skin that they're in.
Joanna brings personalized care and professionalism expertise to her clients.
Thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon.
And for more information, don't forget to visit jdaestheticsllc.com. And now let's get back to the show. And we're back. So Jeff Gonzalez, last notes. Like I said, I already explained the part where people are listening to it, so I'm just going to cut right through it. What are some pearls of wisdom, as I call them, that you can drop for people to pick up along the beach, that you would say are good steps in the right direction of doing something like what you're doing? Maybe the political realm, maybe just having a good family life, maybe just overall being a better person. What would you say are some steps in that direction?
So I would say a few different tips that I would give. Number one is leaders are learners. Leaders are learners. And what that means is you are always reading You're always investigating, and you're always having conversations with people that are not like you. Learn from those conversations. So leaders are learners. That's number one. Number two, which we alluded to earlier, was mindset. You have to have a mindset of what I call a missionary, right?
Yeah.
I know I have to get up, and then I know I have to do.
Yeah.
Right? So I have to get up physically, and I have to mentally do something. So we talked about that piece. The other piece I would say is critical in doing this is formulating a plan. By the end of this year, I want to do X. Write it down. Put it up. See it.
Have a list.
Have a list.
List
When
matters.
strategically planning your life or a business or whatever, you have to plan with the end in mind and then reverse engineer backwards. So I want to be an astronaut. That's the end in mind. And then I have to reverse engineer, which is what are my obstacles?
One. Yeah.
What are my obstacles? And how do I overcome those obstacles in order to get to where I need to be? So for me, when I looked at the political side, okay, the end in mind is be an advocate in the legislature, which is an assembly member. Got it. Reverse engineer backwards is, how do I understand what's going on in the community? How can I advocate if I don't understand? I got to get out there. I've got to do good. I've got to meet people where they're at, where not my opinion, but their opinion, because they're representatives. So you have to strategically plan out and reverse engineer backwards.
Fantastic.
And lastly, be in the council of many. And what that means is have wise people, not people your age, right?
Right.
People that are older, that have been through it, that have stumbled, that have failed, that can guide you wisely on the path that you're going to go through. So those are my 4 pieces to get you into a new mindset, to get you to success, but only you can do that, and only you can take those steps.
That's fantastic. Well, that there's nowhere else better to end this. I think this has been a fantastic time with you. I want to thank you for your time and for your fantastic wisdom at the very short age of 36. You really have accumulated quite the amount of just wisdom, man. It's spilling out of you, and it's fantastic. It's good to see it. It's good to see somebody that's going to represent the community in such a way that can be very easy to back up.
Yeah.
That 100%. And well, again, I know we talked about a lot of stuff, so I'm going to make sure to include it into our podcast, but something that we did touch on that is ringing my head right now is the hotline for vets. I will add that to the comment section, so make sure you guys look out for that. To anyone else around the world, as a reminder, we here in the Coachella Valley like your input and your comments, so we are reading it constantly. Something really crazy, Jeff, I'll tell you, is that there's a town in Germany, Hensey, Memphis, or something like that. And these guys they're always listening to us. I want to say thank you to them because they leave some comments. And thanks to those comments, there you go. Thanks to those comments, we're able to kind of improve on these. And that's what I'm talking about. We love listening to people just as much as you do. Sometimes you just got to hear that output in order to know what to put out. So we ask the same. Again, anytime you guys want to leave us any comments, we are reading, we are listening, we are improving, and we hope to see you guys at all our future events. I want to sit with you, Jeff, and plan out an event where we can have people come and meet you. And I'm putting that on there because as I've done this in the past, when I hear myself do it, what's my next day looking like?
Right.
That's exactly how I do it.
Party with a plan.
There we go.
Don't book a party without booking another party after. There you go.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And you guys have a great day or a good night. Bye.